It's the early 1990s. The Berlin Wall has just fallen. Europe is buzzing with a kind of restless, electric freedom, like the whole continent is exhaling after holding its breath for decades. And right in the middle of all of it is my dad. He's young, he's Chinese-Indonesian, a long way from home, and he is backpacking across Europe on pure guts and curiosity. No smartphones, no Google Maps, no translation apps. Just a worn-out backpack, a Eurail pass, and the wide-open belief that the world was worth seeing up close. Now, here's something you need to know about my dad to understand this story properly. He had a tradition, a small personal ritual he'd picked up somewhere along the way. In every country he visited, he would walk into a local tattoo shop and get something simple done. A flag.
A national symbol. A tiny piece of that place, inked permanently into his skin. Not as a tourist souvenir, as a memory. Something that said, I was here. I saw this. This mattered. By the time he rolled into Helsinki, Finland, he'd already been across half the continent, and he was ready to add another chapter to his skin. The shop was small, warm, smelled like antiseptic and fresh ink, that particular scent that somehow manages to be both clinical and artistic at the same time. The kind of place with designs plastered wall to wall, run by professionals who clearly took their craft seriously. My dad walked in, ready for his Finnish flag. And that's when he noticed them. Two men, French tourists, loud in the way that certain people are loud when they've decided that a room belongs to them just by virtue of their presence. They were already ahead of him in line, and they were making absolutely sure everyone in that shop knew it. They talked over the staff, they interrupted, they pointed at designs and then changed their minds mid-sentence, laughing at their own jokes while the tattoo artist maintained the kind of strained professional politeness that you only develop after years of dealing with difficult customers. You know the smile, the one that never quite reaches the eyes. My dad watched all of this quietly. He's not a confrontational man by nature. He settled into his seat, let his friend go ahead of him, and observed. Patient, calm, still. And then one of the French tourists looked over at him.
"I've always wanted a Chinese character tattoo," the man said. "Something cool. Could you write down the character for love on a piece of paper for me so I can show the artist?" And there it was. No please, no would you mind, no acknowledgement that this was a stranger he'd been rude around for the past 20 minutes. Just an assumption. Just a request issued with the confidence of a man who has never had to wonder whether he was welcome. My dad looked at him for a moment. Nodded. Sure, no problem. He held out his hand for the pen and paper. Here's what I love most about this part of the story. My dad has told it to our family many times over the years, and when he gets to this moment, there's always this little pause. This tiny smile that creeps onto his face like he's reliving the thought in real time. He didn't explode. He didn't lecture the man about cultural sensitivity or basic human decency. He didn't roll his eyes or make a scene. He just picked up the pen and he wrote something down. Not I, not love, not anything remotely close to what the man asked for. My dad has a full command of Chinese characters, and in that moment, with the quiet precision of a man who has been underestimated one too many times, he wrote two characters that together form one of the most colorful insults in the Mandarin language. Shabby, which, for the uninitiated, roughly translates to stupid cunt. He handed the paper over with a completely straight face. The tourist took it, nodded like he'd just received a gift, and walked straight over to the tattoo artist. Now, what happened next has two possible explanations, and honestly,
both of them are beautiful in their own way. Either the tattoo artist, who had spent the last hour being talked over, ignored, and condescended to by these two men, glanced at the paper, recognized the characters, understood exactly what they meant, and decided, you know what? Fine. You've been awful. You deserve this. I'm going to give you exactly what you asked for. Or he was simply too overwhelmed, too busy, too checked out from dealing with these people to stop and verify the reference. A customer hands you a piece of paper, you do the work. That's the job.
Either way, the needle went in, and those two characters were permanently inked into this man's skin. My dad sat there, getting his perfectly legitimate Finnish flag tattooed on his back, watching the whole thing unfold in total serene silence. He didn't laugh, he didn't stare, he didn't say a word. He just let it happen. The French tourists left the shop the same way they'd arrived. Loud, self-satisfied, completely unconcerned with the world around them. The one with the new tattoo was probably already planning which dinner table he'd show it off at. Probably rehearsing the story. I got this in Helsinki. Some Chinese guy helped me pick the characters. Means love. Pretty cool, right? My dad finished his tattoo, thanked the artist, walked out into the Finnish afternoon air. And he kept his mouth shut. See, that's the part that gets me. He never found out what happened next. He doesn't know if that man ever showed the tattoo to someone who could read Mandarin and watched the blood drain from their face. He doesn't know if a friend, a teacher, a colleague somewhere down the line saw those characters and burst out laughing, or quietly pulled the man aside. He doesn't know if that tattoo is still out there, somewhere in the world, on the skin of a man who is still blissfully unaware. Or if someday, years later, someone finally told him. And when my dad thinks about that second possibility, when he lets himself imagine the exact moment this man realized what he'd been walking around with, he laughs every single time. Here's the thing that makes this revenge so perfect. It required no anger, no confrontation, no raised voice, no dramatic exit, no moment where my dad had to make himself small or defensive or prove anything to anyone. He just used what he had, his knowledge, his calm, and two very specific Chinese characters, and let the universe handle the rest. The man wanted a piece of Chinese culture as an accessory. He wanted to take something that wasn't his, without understanding it, without respect, without even a basic courtesy to the person he was asking. And in return, he got exactly that. A piece of something he didn't understand, a character he couldn't read, a reminder, permanent and indelible, of the moment he chose rudeness over decency. Shabi. Right there on his body. Forever. If that isn't karma with a needle, I genuinely don't know what is. You know, there's something my dad's story keeps teaching me, every single time I hear it. Dignity doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just picks up a pen. Sometimes the most powerful response to someone who underestimates you is to simply let them, and let the consequences follow at their own pace. If this story made you smile or made you think, smash that like button and drop a comment below. I want to know, what's the most satisfying piece of petty revenge you've ever witnessed? Big or small, I want to hear it. And if you're new here, subscribe, because we've got a whole library of stories just like this one. Justice served cold, karma doing its thing, and ordinary people winning in the most extraordinary ways. We'll see you in the next one.